This is my living pantry and also my everyday free classroom. I come on YouTube each day and I share what I learn, not what I know, because I would not even pretend as if I know gardening. I learn from my plants and from my gardening experience, and I share that journey with you. I was just passing there and I saw my first turn mango for this year. My name is Marie, and as I said, this is where we eat from fresh every day, and I also share that with you every day. Now, I've been getting some frequent questions, and I promise you, when you ask those questions, that I'll prepare a video to provide those answers for you. And I know that those answers are important because starting garden, when I started my container garden, those are some of the questions that I typed in YouTube, and you just don't get the answer that you want from those videos. And most YouTubers who know what they're doing, they don't take the time out to answer the question. So I have been in your position, and so I am taking the time out to answer your questions. Now, one of you asked, well, several of you asked, and you'll see one and two comments on the screen. And that is because you probably are the last person who asked that particular question when I'm doing this video. You ask, what soil do I use and what do I mix my soil with? Now, when we started farming on the rocks, we started with this tire and that bathtub that is sitting right over next to us. And we started by using soil that we collected off of the street. Collected those soil, and because we have chickens at that time, we still have chickens. We mix the dirt, because that's not soil. Soil is dirt combined with organic material to make it living. Those were just dirt. So I started with just dirt, mixed it with my chicken manure, and planted or callaloo, peppers and stuff in that. And those sort of things did exceptionally well. At the minute, this one is fertilized with some horse manure along with rabbit manure. But that's how we started. Now I've kind of improved, and I'll tell you why. So while some of these will do exceptionally well with just that dirt and so on, they are not really heavy feeders, like say for example carrots and tomatoes and so on. Even though I did get tomato to produce, but after a while they just stopped producing, and so we had to go and search for better soil. So now we still use topsoil, but the person who provide us with soil now, and it's a privately owned property, so it's not somewhere where I can tell you to go, but you can get that. The soil mix I'm about to tell you, you can do it yourself or get it on any farm that it is available. So the gentleman, he now provides us with topsoil mixed with horse manure along with charcoal and sometimes ash. And that is what I am currently planting my veggies in. And as you can see, it is doing extraordinary well. Well, most of the crops are doing really well in that sort of soil mix. I hope that answered your question. If there are any other questions that you have for those persons who wanted to know, please let me know in the comments. And I can't say I'll do this sort of video every week, but I will definitely bear your question in mind in the next video like this one. The next question you asked, well, several of you asked, was how do I prevent the worms from eating my corn, and how do I keep the ants away? It's gonna be a challenge if you don't have time on your hand, because the short answer to that is you cannot keep them away. It's what you do when they attack, and early detection is key. So for the worms, you will see little droppings, and usually they don't attack when the corn is this big. They will attack the corn just as they're about to shoot or even before. And at that time, guys, believe it or not, I picked the worms out because I don't know of anything that I can spray it with organically that will kill the worms, that does not have chemical in there. I've tried baking soda, I've tried the soap water. It kills the aphids, but not the worms. As it relates to the ants usually attack as soon as it starts to flag. Because I understand that the flags has a lot of sugar in there. The stalk does too, but the flag has more. And so it attracts the ants. Now for the ants, I spray it off with soapy water and I keep the soil saturated. And even so, I still have ants problem. They don't like when the soil is saturated with water. And so even now there are a little ants on there right now as we speak. And I also use diatomaceous earth. It's a organic pesticide that attacks the exoskeleton of the ants and kills them. But I'll leave a link in the description for the diatomaceous earth. But if you don't have that, and you can also sprinkle some ash in there, and it kind of keep them down. It does not get rid of them. Right now, I'm looking at ants on my corns, even with all of that. You also ask, what soil do I use to start my seeds in? That soil that I explained, that soil mix, that's the exact soil I sow my seeds in. All I do is I pick out the big bits, like if they're pieces of wood or wood chips, anything like that, rocks, anything like that, I would pick those out and sow my seeds in there. Right now, I have some seeds that I sowed for you guys for the giveaway, and they're starting to germinate, and they're planted or sowed in the exact same soil that I used to plant in the garden. I purchased a seed starting mix, and I did not see the difference in terms of germination. I only got one seed that I tried to germinate. I believe it was the rosemary. I got that seed overseas, and it wouldn't germinate in our regular soil, and it germinated in the seed starting mix. That's the only one that I saw a difference, and I have not tried another time to see if it's really the soil that made a difference, but it's the same soil that I use. So you can probably sieve it, put some perlite in there, and try and sow your seeds and see if they'll germinate. If you're having challenges getting your seeds to germinate in clay soil or stuff like that. So yeah, I use the very same soil that I used to plant everything else in to sow my seeds. Now you ask me, what type of natural fertilizer do I use to fertilize my plants to make them look so good? And most of what I use are right here next to me. I have my compost tea, and that as food scraps, grass, leaves, anything that you use in the kitchen basically, you can put in your compost tea. And then that is my general fertilizer, I would call that one, because that can be placed on any and everything in the garden. Almost everything. Well, everything in the garden, I use that to water. That I dilute 10 to 1 because everything is in that one. It is really, really pungent, and it smells horrible, by the way. And so that one is really strong, so that I dilute 1 to 10 and use it to water the vegetables in the garden. Now, one of my favorite fertilizers to use on my fruiting vegetables and fruit is banana tea. Banana tea is a favorite. It does well on any vegetable that is going to flower and fruit because of the high potassium level in bananas. They do really, really well whenever they're fertilized with banana tea. And that is my go-to for all of those type of vegetables in the garden. And they do really, really well. Another that I combine with banana tea for the fruiting vegetables, such as in particularly squashes, cucumbers, those vining fruits, melons, is ash, wood ash. And wood ash is literal ash that you use either wood fire outside or a coal stove or a grill that you use to grill your chicken or whatever meat you're grilling. Then the ash that is left from the burnt wood or the burnt coal, I add that to my container, either using water, mixing it in water, adding it to the soil, or just as a top dressing. They do fantastic. And it is because it adds a lot of potassium as well for those vegetables and fruits that need a lot of that to produce lovely big fruits. And this is producing tons of cucumbers as we speak. My leafy greens, they do fine with just some manure. Whether it be rabbit manure, I got my rabbits because of my garden, and so they're serving multi-purpose now. But the leafy greens, like the cabbages, the pak choy, the lettuce, they do well with just some top dressing of um rabbit manure, horse manure, any animal manure that you have available to you. That's all I use on them, and they thrive. They don't need the banana tea and stuff like that. That I don't waste on these things because they do well with just the iron nitrogen fertilizer from that manure that our animals provide for us. And they do really, really well. That squash, I recently fertilized it with some um, compost along with the ash and the banana tea, and I have been getting lovely squashes from that plant. It's doing amazing. That one is almost ready to be harvested, and I just harvested one a couple days ago, so it is doing well. And as I mentioned, it's compost. So compost is another very good top dressing, or you can combine it with your older soil to fertilize. That's what I use to fertilize some of my um, fruits and vegetables in the garden. It can be used for soil amendment. Well, it's one of the best things to use to amend your soil, and your fruits will do well. So give it a shot and let me know. But most of us already knew that compost is good for the garden. Okay, fruits on this tomato. Another free resource that I make use of is worm castings. That's one of the most expensive fertilizer on the market, organic fertilizer that is. And so next to me, we have a woodland, sort of a forest, and I will go there from time to time and collect worm casting, and that also helps with um my fruits doing really, really well in the garden and veggies. I now have a yard long bean behind me, and it was kind of yellow. It was not looking good, and I fertilized it with a combination of banana tea, wood ash, and worm casting. And guys, you want to see the size of the beans that are currently producing on my yard long bean. I think I'm gonna save the first set for seed, even though that might slow down the production, but I will probably chance it. And yes, so that's one of the really, really valuable free natural resource that I make use of right over the woods next to me, right there, to fertilize. So all of what I use in the garden is basically free, apart from the fact that we have to feed the animals for them to poo. It, if we didn't use it that way, you would throw away the poo anyway, so I still consider it free. If there are any other questions, please let me know in the comments. And as I said earlier, I will definitely bear your questions in mind whenever I get the chance to do videos like these. I hope this video was helpful. Please let me know if it was helpful, guys. Let me know if it is worth doing these videos, because I don't mind, but I want to know that it is beneficial to someone, even one person, and I'll continue to do them. On top of the fertilizing, guys, pest control is critical also to keep your garden at optimum. These are aphids. You have to be very, very vigilant in the garden when it comes on to pests. Otherwise, you will fertilize from now till next year, and you still don't get anything from your garden because of these pests. So this is due a soap watering. All right, guys, if you're watching and you've not yet subscribed, please go ahead, subscribe. The best thing you can do to help my channel and to help Farming on the Rocks is to share with your friends, share on your social media, share on your, just share in your community, in your home, in your schools. Share, guys. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate you so much. These pests. Please continue to watch and support the videos each day when I post. I appreciate you so much. Continue leaving your questions and continue leaving your recommendation, because as I said, I am just starting to learn gardening. So there is so much more that I need to learn. And as soon as I learn something new, I'll pass on to the next person who's willing to sit and watch my videos. Thank you so much. Please like, leave your comments, share, subscribe, press that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I post another video. All right, guys, take care. Apart from YouTube, my garden is my everyday free classroom. I come on. You also ask what